Hello, I'm Jenefer. I'm the founder of Silk Helix, and today I'm talking teamwork. And it comes off the back of a question I was asked yesterday by a client, which really got me thinking. And the question was, how many social events should we be having during the year? The answer: how long's a piece of string? What are you doing them for? Why are you doing them? What's the point? Actually, socials is an interesting one, and probably for another video. But it kind of got me thinking about why we even do socials. And often it's about building the team, making people work better together. And teamwork gets hailed as this kind of golden thing that we must have. It must work. People must work as a team in order for us to be successful. And yep, not knocking teamwork. When we're in a business, we're part of a team, we're part of something wider. And that's a good place to be. But what do we really mean by teamwork? And the answer to that is going to vary depending on who you are and what you're doing and what you're trying to achieve. If you're in a sports team, it very much does mean working really closely together, being able to interpret each other, understand where each other are going to go next, the next move they're going to make, because we know each other so well. In many businesses, it's not quite that. We don't need to necessarily be working on everything together. It doesn't mean necessarily discussing everything or coming to agreement on everything, because actually that's not a particularly efficient way to work. So what do we mean by teamwork? What is it? What's important? And I think the answer to that is going to be unique to you and your business. But I thought it was helpful to look at one of the best teams I've ever worked in. I was working in a team where we all were allocated a set of clients. So we worked very much independently. We were all remote. We were scattered all across the country, from where I am in Essex to Scotland to Northern Ireland to Wales. We were really scattered. And this was before the time of video calls, before the time of instant messenger. But I really felt part of a team. I felt really supported. I felt like I'd got people around me who I could call on when I needed to, who I could rely on. But ultimately, my job was my own. Whether my clients got serviced was down to me, not down to people in Scotland or Wales. That was about their clients and what they were doing. But yet there was still this really strong feeling of the team. That got me thinking, well, what did that really mean? We weren't working together to do our work. We weren't working together on an everyday basis. What we were doing together was learning together. And I think this, in that particular situation, is what made the team really strong. So we would attend training together. We would each have areas of expertise which we then trained each other in. So we got to know individuals' areas of expertise, and we developed expertise by delivering those trainings to one another. We would get together to discuss challenging cases or interesting cases that we were working on. So it meant that we got to learn from each other's experiences. We got to hear how each other dealt with cases, or how each other would respond to clients in particular situations. So we did really get to know each other that way, which meant on the rare occasions we did have to pick up each other's clients, let's say sickness, absence, for example, we tended to know who that consultant was, how they worked, how they thought, how they dealt with that client, because of those learning conversations that we'd had. And so for me, that team, the element of teamwork was making sure that we grew our skills together, that we knew we could call on each other. So if I had a case come up that actually I wasn't sure on the answer to, or I kind of felt a bit like I just wanted a second opinion, then I knew who to call on. I knew that the team would be there for me. I knew that my colleagues were there for me on the other end of the phone. And that was really important. And that's what made that team really solid and make me feel that I was part of a really strong team. The other bit of it was that we all knew what we had to do. So although we had our individual jobs, and our individual clients, we knew what that meant for the whole business. We knew what our goals were. We knew what the expectation was. We knew that me in Essex and my colleagues in Scotland and across the country were delivering the same service to our own sets of clients, but in the same way. We knew what good looked like. And we knew what that meant for the business. We knew the overall goals of the business. So we were all moving in the same direction. And we were all learning together and we were all delivering together. So you felt part of a team, but with the independence to control what you were doing yourself. And that, for me, worked really well. That suited my personality. It suited the way I'm motivated. Working remotely, it worked really, really well. And it meant that we got the teamwork when we needed to, but the independence when we needed to. And I think for a lot of teams, that kind of environment is what's needed. We're not all on the pitch working out who to kick the ball to next like a football team, but we are working as part of something. So we may be on our individual little piece over here, but when we know what the bigger picture is, we know what that little piece here contributes to, and we know that the team are there for us to rely on and fall back on. That, for a lot of teams, will be the definition of teamwork. Not for all, and as I say, this will vary across businesses, but when you're talking about teamwork being really important, the key thing to take away from this is, what does teamwork really mean? What do you really expect people to be doing as part of a team? What team are they part of? Are they part of just that little team? Are they part of the wider team? Ideally, yes, people should all be part of the wider team and know how they contribute to the wider team. What does that mean? How do you define it? How do people feel part of it? And that's what it comes down to. It's not about socials. It's not about getting to know each other personally, at drinking, playing bingo together, attending Zoom quizzes. It's not about those things. Those things don't build teamwork. And in fact, that team that was the strongest team I've ever been in, we only had one social year, which was our Christmas dinner. That I don't think contributed in any way to how we felt as a team. Because I say we were so remote, we were so distant from each other, and this was before the days of Zoom quizzes and all of these things. We didn't have any of those things, but that team felt really solid, and that's the thing to focus on here. I think that when we're building a team, what do we really want the team to be achieving? What's really important? What should the team be doing together, and what should they be doing independently? And when they're doing things independently, how is that contributing to the overall team? And think about those questions for your business, and forget about your socials as a team building activity and more as a celebration. I'm not knocking socials at all. They're a great way to celebrate business success, a great way to thank people, a great way to kind of let your hair down and things. If that's what people want to do, great. Definitely not knocking them. But when it comes to teamwork, no amount of socials is going to define or create your team.